On election night in 2008, as America celebrated, one man stood in the crowd, crying. It wasn't Barack Obama, it was Jesse Jackson. For decades, he had run when the country wasn't ready. He had shattered ceilings, but never broken through. And in that moment, history finally caught up to him. But the real story of Jesse Jackson is far bigger than those tears. When Reverend Jesse Jackson died at 84, tributes poured in from across the political spectrum. Former President Barack Obama called him a true giant. Joe Biden honored his fight for justice. Even Donald Trump praised him as a good man with grit and street smarts. But behind the statements lies a bigger question. Was Jesse Jackson just a civil rights figure? Or was he the architect of modern Democratic coalition politics? To understand that, we have to go back to 1968. When Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated, Jesse Jackson was there in Memphis. In the years that followed, Jackson didn't just preserve King's legacy, he expanded it. He believed the civil rights movement had to evolve from protest to power. And so he built something new, the Rainbow Coalition. Not just black voters, but farmers, Native Americans, Arab Americans, working-class whites, Asian Americans, labor unions. He called America a quilt. Every patch mattered. This was revolutionary political strategy in the 1980s. In 1984, Jackson ran for president. Many dismissed him as symbolic. He shocked them. 4 years later, in 1988, he did even more. He won millions of votes. He won primaries. He electrified the Democratic National Convention. In his legendary 1988 speech, he declared, "When my name goes into nomination, your name goes into nomination." For millions watching from housing projects, rural towns, forgotten communities, this wasn't politics, it was recognition. He didn't win the nomination, but he shattered what Abby Phillip would later call the ceiling on black possibility. For the first time, millions of black Americans saw a viable presidential campaign that looked like them. The Democratic establishment was wary. Jackson's language was moral, urgent, left-leaning, and controversy followed him. His 1984 Hymietown remark deeply hurt Jewish communities and damaged his standing. For years, critics painted him as divisive. Others accused him of being more activist than executive, a man who could run his mouth but not an office. But time does something interesting to history. It clarifies scale, and scale is where Jackson's impact becomes undeniable. In 2008, the impossible happened. Barack Obama was elected President of the United States. And in Chicago, cameras captured Jesse Jackson, weeping. It was more than pride, it was culmination. Obama himself acknowledged Jackson helped lead some of the most significant movements for change in human history. Jackson had not reached the presidency, but he had helped make it reachable. Yet even then, Jackson warned, would America invest in structural change, or would symbolism be enough? Then came Donald Trump. His presidency raised some uncomfortable questions. Was there a white backlash to the nation's first black president? Was history moving forward? Or, snapping back? Interestingly, Trump still praised Jackson upon his death. Politics is rarely simple, but the ideological contrast was, honestly, pretty stark. Jackson's coalition politics emphasized marginalized voices. Trump's movement leaned into grievance and populist nationalism, two competing visions of America. In recent years, echoes of Jackson's politics have returned. Bernie Sanders ran on economic populism and coalition building. New leaders have emphasized multiracial alliances and grassroots energy. The idea that politics must speak directly to the ignored, that's pure Jackson. He went to native reservations with, honestly, very few votes. Coal mining towns in darkness, churches where people waited hours just to be seen. He understood something many candidates didn't. Recognition is power. Today, as debates over race, inequality, and democracy intensify, Jackson's life feels less like history and more like foundation. He expanded the imagination of what was politically possible. He forced the Democratic Party to confront its base. He made millions feel visible. He never held elected office, yet he reshaped electoral politics. That's rare. On Sesame Street in 1972, Jesse Jackson recited, I am somebody. Simple words. But, wow, revolutionary in a country where so many were told they were not. He didn't win the presidency, but he changed who believed they could, and in politics, belief changes everything.